Hey, what's up guys, we're back again, and today we're going to be talking about an artist that you may or may not have heard of before, going by the name of Pyrxciter. Now, I first became aware of him through his connection to another artist named Young Rare, which if you're a fan of this channel at all, you probably know who that is.
Hello, what's up? I'm toxic. Cause I got no other option.
But in short, he was a somewhat well-known trap metal artist who blew up with one song on TikTok called Moshi Moshi, which was able to get him a lot of connections with some other well-known trap metal artists. Nobody all that big, but enough people that he was able to build a network and get himself a little bit of fame. He got a lot of his songs posted up on Trash AMV, he pulled pretty good Spotify numbers, and to a lot of people, he was a very appealing artist because if you could get in good with him, he could get you connections, he could get you numbers, and he might even be able to blow you up. But there was one very strange thing about him, and that's the fact that he barely showed his face. He didn't really appear in videos or try to do anything to promote himself on Instagram. A lot of people probably thought that he was just a reserved guy, but at the same time, the numbers didn't really make sense for the type of impact that he had online. And the reason for this is he was using botted playlists on Spotify, where basically he would put his song in these certain playlists and it would get played over and over again by robots. It wasn't actually people. There was also a lot of Undead Poppy songs in those very same playlists, so both of them were definitely puffing up their numbers. But the problem with Spotify is that they don't really care about bots, and you actually will get paid out even if you use bots as long as you don't go over 90% of your audience, and it worked for him. He got a very appealing number that he was able to sell to all these artists and say, hey, if you get connected to me, I can basically give you the world. And if you're wondering how it was found out that he was on these botted playlists, it turns out that one of his fellow collaborators, 0x Thrash, actually told King that he was in one of those Spotify playlists, and he got a notification from Spotify telling him that most of his followers were fake on there. But honestly, botting is definitely the least egregious of Young Rare's crimes, because it was soon found out that he actually had a case back in 2017 for hooking up with a couple underage girls. There had always been rumors about this in the past, and he actually even made a song kind of talking about it, saying that he did some crazy shit back in the day.
Fuck Rare, that nigga a bitch. I heard he got arrested for some crazy shit.
Okay, so I was actually editing the video, and that was the first time I actually ever listened to that song before, and I just realized that he literally did that song in King's flow. Dude was literally role-playing what it would be like when King got out of prison and dissed him. He's like, haha, you can't diss me, I'm gonna do the diss song on myself in your inflection before you get the chance. I know you guys are gonna say I'm biased to King, I don't give a fuck, I just think that's funny. But it seems like everybody underplayed it or just ignored it because after all, they were getting better numbers on Spotify and there was no reason to ever address it. But that was until a couple fans of Young Rare ended up hopping in my Discord server and telling me that he got caught up on some crazy shit, but he was actually innocent and I should make a video trying to clear his name. So immediately I started to look into it, but I couldn't really find any information online besides a couple Reddit threads talking about what he had done, but there definitely wasn't any conclusive information in there. Not to mention he had one very adamant defender who seemed to be a family member, because let's be honest, nobody's that big of a fan of Young Rare to really defend him like that. So basically the case ran cold for a while, but some way, just by destiny, one of Young Rare's old friends happened to be a fan of the channel and hit me up to do a video on him, and then he ended up saying that he was friends with Young Rare. So I immediately asked him what was up with that old case, and he told me it was all true and he actually did the things that people were accusing him of. We ended up getting on a phone call and he told me the entire story of everything that went down with Young Rare, showed me mug shots, told me who to get in contact with, and immediately after that I ended up talking to another rapper called Winterheart Cold, which corroborated the entire story, saying that Young Rare really did do that. He sent me to another artist named King, who supposedly also had some pretty bad charges, but I decided to talk to him and do an interview, and he gave me some more information on it. That led me to get in contact with Young Rare's ex-girlfriend, Julia, who would give me even more information on the subject. And between all these people, I was able to put together enough information to expose Young Rare for his past crimes in a video, and for a while it seems like he wasn't going to respond. I ended up doing an interview with King who would shine more light on the situation, as well as admitting to his own crimes, even showing me the paperwork of everything that went down with him and Young Rare. In short, they all used to live in a house together where they would party every day and get drunk, and it led to a situation where King put his hands on a woman and then he ended up getting arrested. Now, Young Rare and his associates were fully aware that this was going on, but they didn't care until it affected them, because at the time Young Rare was on probation for his prior crimes, which was once again messing with underage females. Not to mention that Young Rare ended up connecting King to his ex-girlfriend on 5 separate occasions after the incident had already gone down, and because he did that, he ended up violating getting his own parole, and he had no choice but to go to the interrogation room and testify against King, making him a snitch. And all this information was revealed in the paperwork that I ended up reading out on this very same channel. However, it seems like this might have been the last straw for young Rare. He was okay with his own reputation being destroyed and him being revealed for everything that he actually was, but he absolutely was not okay with King maybe getting a redemption story. So he decided to post on his Instagram not talking about his own crimes, but instead trying to reveal King for being a woman beater, which was something that he already admitted to and was already charged with. But to be fair to Rare, he was able to gather a lot of information on King, as well as showing some pretty shocking images that would get people riled up. He also added in a story about King supposedly throwing a couple cats off a balcony, but from everything I looked into, this story doesn't seem to be true. But in a somewhat genius move from young Rare, he was able to push the narrative away from him being a kitty diddler and instead make it all about a beef between him and King, which was very sensationalized and a lot of people got in on. However, it didn't seem to be enough to save his reputation because he immediately started to lose collaborators left and right. Leprosy would cut him off, Zero X Thrash ended up cutting him off, and he actually ended up calling me the very same day that I put out my video to ask what went down with young Rare. I showed him all the information. I ended up showing him the mugshot with all the charges. I showed him the fact that it was actually posted on an official Idaho news station. I then showed him all the paperwork, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to convince Zero X Thrash, because even though young Rare was charged with those two crimes, the victims never ended up coming to court to testify against them because they were already out of the state at that point. It turns out that he ended up leaving the hotel after doing the acts with the girls, but he wasn't immediately arrested. He was only arrested a couple months later after he got into a fight in a park. And because the girls never ended up testifying against him, he was able to plead his charge down to only robbery, as well as getting the chance to have his entire criminal record sealed because he was only a first-time offender, and oftentimes after you commit your first crime, they will give you that opportunity. And that gives young Rare just enough plausible deniability to have people who are connected to him say, you know what, he never actually got hit with those charges, so he must be innocent. Despite the fact that Winterheart Cold, his ex-girlfriend, Deadbeat Villain, and Little Heartbreak, all people who are not connected to each other in any way, came out with separate accounts of just how shitty of a person he was and that he actually ended up committing these crimes. But to a lot of people, it seems easier to believe that there's an evil cabal out there trying to take down young Rare because he's such a popular rapper that they're jealous of him and they're mad at his success, so they want to take him down. And at this point, there's really nothing more that I can do to prove that he actually committed these crimes besides maybe actually finding the girls themselves and getting them to talk about it, but they've disappeared off the map. And let's be honest, even if those girls came out and testified against him, these people would still deny the fact that he ended up doing that, because after all, young Rare is their meal ticket. They really don't care what he does, they really don't care who he hurts, but overall it seems like basically everybody cut him off anyways. Young Rare eventually ended up calling out Zero X Thrash, so apparently that connection was severed. But there was one other rapper that I always heard about that was supposedly working with young Rare, and that's the rapper Pyrxciter that I mentioned at the start of the video. I'll be honest with you, when I first heard this, I didn't really care, because after all, it's not my responsibility to go to every single artist and say, you know what, this guy's a creep, you should probably cut him off. I mean, if you want to work with him, you can take the hit to your reputation, it really doesn't matter to me. But time and time again, I kept hearing the same story over and over again, and eventually I ended up doing a podcast with an artist named Kitsune, who once again revealed that Pyrxciter was still working with young Rare, and not only that, but he had actually scammed him for a feature in the past.
Oh, fuck Pyrxciter.
Oh, yeah,
Look,
okay.
What's
Wait,
wrong with
why?
him,
Why?
I've been hitting up fucking Pyrxciter for 3 years now. He still ain't got my shit. So like, dog, it's like I'm gonna get my money back. I'm gonna have to beat the fuck at you, dog. Because he lives He lives in Salisbury. I live in Charlotte. That's 40 minutes away from me.
So he took
That's
the
what I'm
money
talking
and
about,
never
bro.
gave you the...
And then Pyrxciter still fucks with Rare to this fucking day.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's actually crazy.
Yep.
And of course, he ended up sending me receipts that I will show you at the end of this video. But once again, I still did not believe that Pyrxciter was working with young Rare. I was thinking at this point there was no way they were still working together. They probably just had previous songs that he still wanted to promote because they were doing good numbers. There was no way they were still making new music together. But apparently I was wrong about this, because he ended up posting up a reel playing music between him and young Rare, which overall isn't really a big deal, but apparently it got the attention of a producer known as Phoenix, who ended up hitting him up and asking why he was still working with young Rare. And Pyrxciter not only admitted to it, but he continued to say that young Rare actually wasn't a diddler, and then tried to argue about it. And he ended up using the exact same argument that Zero X Thrash used with me on the phone a couple months ago, saying that basically there was no proof that he actually got hit with those charges, so it doesn't matter if he has the mugshot, it doesn't matter if the news story was posted, it doesn't matter if everybody came out against him, he's innocent. And I mean, if that's the hill you really want to die on, then you can do that that by all means. I mean, I personally wouldn't associate with him anymore. At this point, he's more known for being a diddler than actually being a rapper, and even though you are getting plays off of him, they're all botted as revealed by Leprosy, so there's really no point in trying to do that. I mean, I don't really care if you work with the guy, that's your own prerogative, but I definitely wouldn't go out of my way to try to defend him, because if you ever actually end up blowing up as an artist and people find out that you're working with a diddler after he was already revealed to be a diddler, it probably wouldn't look good for your reputation. But with that said, let's read out these scam texts and see if Pyrxciter actually ended up scamming Kitsune as well. It starts off by Pyrxciter saying, "For shizzle, I'm writing your name. You're shit. I forgot my bad, but for real, I'm gonna get you tomorrow. I had to pay bills for my crib and shit. You good. Handle your business. Thank you for the repost. On gang, we getting up out of the hood forever. Facts. And once I start taking music seriously, I'm gonna be up there. Keep supporting me. I'm gonna help support you so you can come up with us. Deadass. I bought a feature from Kami about a year ago. I gotta get back in the stew and record because I already wrote it and rehearsed my verse. What's your cash app? Oh, that's hard. Here's my cash app. Yo, got it? Sirski, happy face. Damn, bro. See, you really locked in with us. You got the support because you got a feature from Okami and me. When we take off, you're gonna get a high chance of taking off too. On gang, laugh my ass off. Hell yeah. I've been waiting on a feature from you for the longest, and Kami. I've been listening to y'all for the longest, no cap. And then here's all the random noises that Pyrxciter made.
On gang, nigga. That's for sure, man. We gonna have some fun on this track, bro. Let's do it. And thank you.
Bet, you sending it to me because my producer be tripping sometimes. Mans never answers the phone, so it's gonna take me a while to get back in there, honestly. It's cool, I got you on the feature list, bet, preach. And then after that, once again, call him Trippy Red because he's going ghost. Yo, gang, I just remember I bought a feature from you somewhere in 2022. What's up, gang? Can I get my feature, dog? But no, you can't get your feature. Pyrxciter's too famous, he's too busy, and he just doesn't have the time to get in the studio and make a feature from a small-time artist like you, even though you already paid him. So Pyrxciter, maybe spend a little less time defending a diddler and maybe a little bit more time actually following through on the deals that you make. Oh yeah, and just before I close this off, as I was recording this video, Pyrxciter actually ended up posting up a story saying that he was able to disprove Young Rare actually fuck with kids because apparently I was a little bit awkward in an interview, so that disproves everything.
Psychology, but it's like, what do you think it was like? He just, because it had access to it and he had some fame, so he's like, the young girls were the ones.
All I can say is get off your knees. Young Rare is not going to be the meal ticket that you think he is. And besides that, I hope I gave you the attention that you so sorely wanted. Yeah, alright, peace out. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Bye.